Thank you so much for tuning into the Woman to Woman podcast, a conversation for women like you, smart, successful, curious, and interested in being your best self. Join both Sarah and I as we discuss topics that women our age are actually interested in, with both of us being candid and often having differing views.
As coaches, we sprinkle in advice and tips, along with humor and vulnerability. We hope you feel like a fly on the wall, with two friends. Let's entertain and inform you, and welcome you into our friendship.
We appreciate you pressing play and spending some time with us, wherever you are in the world.
Let the magic happen. Hi everyone. In today's episode, Angela and myself are sharing our opinion about two shows on Netflix. The very first show is the Tinder Swindler. That story, unbelievable story, and yet it exists everywhere. I have been scammed as well for different scam, but yet I also lost money. I have been a victim. I know what it is, and it's very, very difficult. Having this documentary out there is brilliant because it provides a lot of awareness to many people out there. And we also are going to talk about Inventing Anna. Inventing Anna is a different show, and we loved it with Angela, and yet we did not perceive the show the same way, and this is what you're gonna discover in this podcast. Just enjoy that moment with us. Good morning, Angela.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you today?
I am very well, thank you. Very well.
Okay, so I'm super excited with this topic. I am not sure why, probably because we postponed it for a few days, and so the excitement just built up, Marketing strategy. Anyway, so here today I want that we discuss because it's extremely trendy right now, and Angela, you are the one who telling me, what it's trendy, what it's not. And this one, I got caught up even before we talked together about it. But I got caught up on Netflix with which one first? The first one was the Tinder Swindler. Tinder Swindler, and I want that we talk about that. I want to know what you think about it because I know you have watched it. I don't even need to ask you questions. I'm sure you watched this because everything which is trendy, Angela is on top of it. And the second one, I got caught up. I'm not watching series. This is a different story. I'm not watching series on Netflix, not anymore, for addiction reason. But normally I just watch movies, at least just to give myself a break, and it's part of my self-love practice. I won't do it that often, but I got caught up. I thought it was a movie, Inventing Anna. I seriously thought it was a movie. I didn't watch that it was a series. And after watching for 40 minutes, I'm like, come on, it's just the beginning of the story. It can't end right now. What is this, And then I watched and I found out it was a series, and it was just like, it took me 2 days to watch the 9 episodes, which is crazy. I know that's part of my addiction, but I know as well some of my friends, it did not take them much more time to watch all of this. So I wanted we discuss about your two, yeah, because it's crazy good, right?
It was good.
So, which one you want to start? Because I want your opinion on that. I want to share mine as well. And so please tell me, which one did you prefer and which one you want that we start talking about?
Oh, well, I way preferred and could relate. I can't relate to either of them, obviously, but I much preferred Inventing Anna than the Tinder Swindler. But that's just me. Which one did you prefer?
Tinder Swindler was difficult to watch for me, and I'm going to explain why. It was one of the most difficult documentaries I have to watch. I'm happy because it ends kind of well compared to many other stories out there. And but definitely Inventing Anna, it's an inspiring story. It's really, I watched it with my coaching eyes, and all the things from my life that I'm trying to build, which are kind of big. But I really preferred it. I mean, it's different stories. It's two different stories, but somehow there is money involvement, there is kind of friend, or there is a, whatever you call it, there is a relationship, a good, a love, a friendship. There is a relationship in both. And this is what both characters are leveraging, right? Differently, completely differently. But still, there is, I would prefer Inventing Anna, because I felt that it was very inspiring, knowing that at 25 years old, she would give everything she has, all her talent, she would not care about people. She's probably a manifester, maybe not. But she just go for what she believed in. And for that lesson, I really found it very inspiring. The way that she's doing it and partially achieve it, is a different story. Of course, there is a lot to say about the method that she's using, but I mean, is it the true story, or a little bit romanced for the documentary purpose? That's high chances it is. But yes, I felt that Inventing Anna, it got me questions. What am I doing with my life? I'm 38 years old and I'm sitting in my comfort zone. I'm not even taking 1% of the risk that she's taking out there. And that got me really questions. What am I doing with my life and my goals and my dreams, This definitely got me questions. I'm still answering that question. I did not answer any of this, probably by fear, but this is where I am. So this is the feeling that I got. Tell me about you.
That's a pretty interesting perspective. That's not the message that I got out of it. I mean, I wasn't watching it with my coaching eyes. I was watching it as a lounge lizard, just hanging out. And I have had a couple of busy weekends. And last weekend, like apart from one dinner and and going for walks and stuff, I actually didn't have anything on. So that was me on my couch, and I was hooked, and I was like, crap, I wasted my whole weekend. But it was just a relaxation for me. So I wasn't thinking about it too deeply. However, I like your perspective, and I definitely have some thoughts on that. So in terms of finding it inspiring, that reminds me of something. So when I was young, very young, I was married young at 23, and we started a business together. And a lot of people, and it was quite successful. And that's why I feel really comfortable in this business realm now, in a very different way than that, because, I want to go slowly. I'm not looking to build a huge empire anytime soon. So, but what a lot of people were very impressed by what we did, and I found it easy because that was a partnership. So that was two of us. I find life, that's why I love this podcast with you. I like to be with somebody else, and that's a whole different topic. But a lot of people were really impressed by what we did, but they did, and there was one particular friend of mine that was like, that's so good you're doing that when you guys are young, do you know what I mean? You have nothing to lose, and you have that, nothing, you really do have nothing to lose, and you have the energy and inspiration and fearlessness of young people. And a lot of the time that does ring in my head, because I was actually a very fearless, I'm a generally courageous and fearless person, but I was particularly fearless as a young person. I probably wasn't that different to Anna in some ways. I was like, I left home, when I was 20, I moved to America. I'm probably not that different in terms of ambition, to have a good life, not to work as hard as some people, because I'm a projector, and I always Yeah, so I can relate to her a lot. And now that I'm here starting a second business, and I do want to build slowly, and I'm here to impact and change lives rather than perhaps build a multi-billion dollar empire. It's just not what I want right now. I can definitely see that 5 to 10 years later, but not now. Um, so I think you're right. Her energy, enthusiasm, and just sheer will to sort of, I think there's a beautiful conversation to be had about men and females in business. I think there's a conversation to be had that she didn't really do anything terribly different to what a lot of men do. And the repercussions, because she did it in a feminine way, the repercussions for her were far too strong, I believe. And even if you were to compare the Tinder swindler to her, people are still far more shocked by what she did because she was a young woman than by what that, asshole did, who's just like, probably 30, 40, middle-aged kind of guy. You can see from one's in jail currently, one is not, blah, blah, blah. One, ripped off people, which is way worse. One ripped off banks and hotels. I mean, just the conversation there is just outrageous. But yes, you could look at her as inspiring in some ways. And yeah, and she had that energy, enthusiasm, and fearlessness of youth. So I know our podcast doesn't appeal to people in that age group, but if anyone is listening, your 20s are for taking risks. And I took so many, and I've had such a good life because I wasn't afraid in my 20s. And even though some things failed, like I wouldn't, my marriage blew up, I wouldn't consider it a failure because I love who I am out of that. And I don't have that business anymore, but my ex-husband does. And I've learned so much. So I think if you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, take risks. I'm really kind of a believer of doing something above the norm. Do you know what I mean? Taking a chance. Yes, a calculated chance. Yes, never ever make a business and quit your job. Have some money behind you, have some level of security, have 1 day a week job. Like, don't risk everything, but risk for sure. No risk and no reward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boring life, in my opinion.
Yeah. I totally relate. And you made me remember as well that when I was in my 20s as well, I was no fearful, I left my home. Well, I was not that young, but I left to go, and to experience an internship in US, and then after that I went followed by an internship in China, and in US I was left on my own. I mean, it was kind of a program, and I was really taken care of, so there is nothing to be fearful with this kind of experience. But still, I was not speaking English at all. This is where I got my English. I learned English for like maybe 15 years at school, and I could not speak a word. I could not barely have a conversation, the very minimum that was requested to go and to get that experience. But I became, very good in English thanks to that experience. Then after that, I moved in China. My father was in China. I was supposed to live with him. Did not happen because my internship blew up once I arrived there. So they needed to find something else, and I needed to move town completely at the opposite of the country. My father was completely far west, and I moved far east. So we did not see each other for the time period that I was staying there. So I was left on my own. Things happened to me, like if it would happen to me right now, it was just like, I would not let this happen, but it did. But anyway, it's just an amazing experience. And you're right, the 20s, it's amazing to go all in, you just go all in. You have nothing to lose. That's so right. Does not mean that the 30s are less than 20s, because trust me, for everyone that can relate to that, 30s is such an amazing period. I love my 30s because this is where I build up my life. I got a sense of what I was doing in this life. And seriously, I have a projection that 40s is even better. So it's not that I can't wait. No, seriously, I can't wait to be 40s. Not that I want to grow much faster because I'm still in my 38. But, it's just like, seriously, don't judge. The 20s who is listening, while listening to that podcast, don't judge, because seriously, 20s has a purpose in your life, which is go fearless, go everything, give all in, because you have nothing to lose. You can build up anything from everywhere. But then comes the 30s. 30s is even better because you find yourself. This is seriously where you find yourself. I can't talk about 40s, I'm not yet there. But somehow it's telling me that it's go just up and up. And I know that from actually numerology, because numerology we have pinnacles and life challenges. And seriously, the numerology will only focus on 4 cycle of 9 years, which happens in the middle of your life, which is mid-20s, 30s, 40s, and 15 and above. So trust me, the best is coming. So tell me a little bit more about inventing Anna. Let's go back to that topic. What do you think she did right? What do you think she did wrong? What is, things that you are definitely not resonating with what she did?
So I'm pretty anti-establishment. So I couldn't care, I don't care about ripping off banks, hotels, all these people. They actually rip us off every single day. So I'm pretty anti-establishment. I mean, I stand by the rules, but to a degree, but I don't care. So her doing that, because yeah, I have no even opinion on that. I'm like, screw them, and some little girl doing whatever she wants, couldn't care less. I also believe in using the currency that you have. So instead of women trying to pretend to be men, or make it in a man's world, like if you can use your sexuality, if you can use what you have, I am all for that. Everybody else does, and part of the patriarchy is putting us down for what we have. Screw that. So
Agree.
all of those things, I'm like,
Agree.
go for it, girl. Like, who cares? This is, just, I love that. So screw them. The friend is an interesting one because, and I you've alluded to your opinions. The friend is an interesting one. I'm not sure.
We are talking about Rachel here, the one who sold Anna to the police, who got ripped off $60,000, who was here to try to help and then finally did not. So yes, tell us. We're talking about that friend.
Well, of course, I don't agree in leveraging love and trust and loyalty in a friendship for money. However, the first person to do that was Rachel. Do you know what I mean? So I don't ever, while I am generous and I am also happy to receive, both from friends, family, and my partner, I'm very happy to receive. I'm very happy to give. I'm a super generous person. So I kind of feel like everything evens out in the end. But I only take what I can actually afford to do. Do you know what I mean? So I think she was wrong in the beginning. I think she was playing in a pool which she couldn't handle. I don't think there's anything wrong with her going on a trip with Anna that she could afford to pay. Like, I think, I don't think that that's black and white. So first of all, I'm against leveraging friendships the way that I don't know if Anna did. Honestly, I don't know if just her paying for one trip after 2 years of Anna paying for everything. I mean, I think that Rachel is, so what I believe and what I'm trying to teach my son is that just because you get involved in a low class argument or something like that, I don't compromise my values. Do you know what I mean? So even if Anna ripped her off, I don't believe she should have lowered herself to the category that she believes Anna was in. Getting her arrested by the police, absolutely not. Finding a way to make the money back, perhaps having her prosecuted for that, that's okay. But not writing a book, not going, not lowering her. I'm a high value person, and I don't believe in anyone, even if they're involved in something low class, low value, disgustingness, to lowering yourself to that. So that is projecting my values on them, but I would never do that. I hold my head high. I'm always the bigger person. And I think life will work out well for you, probably in terms of karma, if you stay true to yourself. So she's a low value person, so I have no interest in her.
Okay, are you saying that she shouldn't have hang out with Anna for 2 years, take whatever she could receive from her because she was supposedly rich, and she never gave back? Yeah, okay. So for this one,
I would never do that.
Totally agree. I totally agree. The thing is that
you can't go on a trip that you can't afford. Sorry.
It's okay. So it's interesting. I mean, you can't go on a trip that you can't afford, but
I would go to a dinner that I can't afford if I was aware they were going to shout me. And I'm not saying that, I remember in my 20s and stuff, like if I didn't, sometimes people were buying things like in the nightclub, like getting a table and stuff that I probably couldn't afford back then. Do you know what I mean? A $200 champagne was really big for me. Yes, of course I'd take it. Do you know what I mean? Mostly off men though. I have no trouble using my sexuality with men. I don't know. I don't really take from friends. Like, yes, I would have them shout me dinner, but a hotel, no. And a holiday. Of course, I've actually stayed in friends' hotels before, but they were staying there. Do you know what I mean? And so I don't know. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
It's, I mean, the thing is that this holiday seems to have had a purpose to make a movie or something, and the one who was filming, the holidays, I'm not sure what was the purpose, because this one is not explained exactly what they've been doing there, and the guy who was filming was a friend of Rachel. So the thing is that Anna was having a plan during that holidays, and she asked that man to come, and because that man is a friend of Rachel, then she asked. This is how I understood the thing. So because it was a friend, so then she decided to go as well, because she was pretty extravagant, Anna, in all her spending. So and it's been and she educated Rachel for 2 years, for keep paying and paying. So. Well, this is where, I'm not sure what to think, seriously, because we don't know what was in Rachel's mind. But the thing is that it's very interesting, because to me, this story with Rachel, and trying to help out a friend, just securing, and having less trouble during that holidays, securing peace, securing peace, because the money was about to come. That relates a lot with the Tinder Swindler. So that's where I found that there is a similar story here, kind of. So, because the thing is that if we look at the Tinder Swindler, what is happening is that he's showing off, he's using the feelings to, with these women, he make them feel, loved and falling in love for him, right? And once you are there, then you get to, how to say, you want to help you want to help the people that you love, right? And Rachel, I feel that was exactly it. She just wanted to help knowing that she would not have the money, but
I
thinking
agree.
that it would be, I don't know, to be honest, I don't have judgment, but I feel that it's similar, right? She really wanted to help. And when you start getting a debt of that amount and you know that you won't be able to refund, and on top of it, she risked her career because she used the corporate credit card, which is a no-go. But I'm a finance director, so that's probably for me why I know that it should be a no-go. But that was her only solution if she wanted to go back anyway. So you really want to help, when you are in this kind of situation, and then suddenly when you end up with a debt of like this and nothing is coming and the friend is not even answering, you get stressed. And a debt of that amount of money is huge. It's seriously huge. So I just want to share why the Tinder Swindler is a story that I can relate. So not entirely, but I got scammed, and I mentioned that in one of our episodes earlier. I got scammed, and completely different story. But the idea is that you want to help. You seriously want to help. You think that a friend is asking you for help, a friend that you know for long is asking you for help, and the idea is that you just want to help, right? And then suddenly, you see your money disappear and nothing is coming back. And you end up with the stress, with an anxiety, because you don't even know how you're going to pay the bills at the end of the month, because you just wanted to help. And that, when the girl was explaining, the guilt that she trusted, and she really, when she started crying, explaining that when she understood that something was going wrong, and she was just worried. She was just, like, she would, people would do things for others in this life that, it's incredible, the amount of energy that we can put out there to save the people that we love. And of course, the Tinder Swindler gets that, he knows that. And seriously, if you think that he's the only one on the market, it's wrong. It's wrong. Totally wrong. It's coming out of everywhere. Everywhere you can find scammer. My scam, I did not find it on Tinder. I found it on Facebook. And I got ripped off. By chance, I have a small little debt. But I still have to refund that debt that I did not. And the idea is really like you feel like shit because you have been mistrust. And okay, so I'm not talking about Rachel right now. I'm really talking about the story on the Tinder Swindler and how you get scammed and how easy it is, to get stories, and just to create rapport. And this is where an LP can be, misused. And that's where there was scandals 20 years ago about an LP. Because you create rapport and then suddenly you get people telling you things, so they know everything about you. And there's not necessarily a love relationship behind the scam. But most of the time there is, because we women, we have that desire to be loved, and we have not been taught how to love ourselves, so we don't know how to take care of ourselves. No, it's not the general point of view, because I know Angela did not get that in her life, but at some point I had, and unfortunately I fall for that attention that was all about me. For once in my life, it was all about me. And I could relate so much to that guilt and shame, seriously, a serious shame. And of course, I wanted to do exactly the same as she did, going out and just spread the word. And I am so grateful that she did. I did not find the courage to go that far. And ultimately, my story is even probably more stupid, because it was using fake pictures anyway. So the story is different. But yeah, anyway, I could
So
not move.
how can you use what happened to you and warn people who are listening? What did you learn and what do you look for now?
And this is where I think I still find, I'm still trying to find a way to express it, because the thing is that we want to build relationship, with people out there, even with people that we don't know, but because we are meant to be connected, we are meant to be together, we are not meant to live our life, and build barriers and then say, I don't trust you, I don't know you, fuck yourself, I'm not even, talking to you. So the thing is that in my generosity of desiring creating connections, I end up, having very good relationship with people who did not feel that stranger to me anymore. And yet I never met them. And this is where the trap is that the moment that you start building a relationship, friendship, or love relationship, if this is the case, then there are some checks to do. And even though, sometimes it's not even enough, because if you look at the Tinder swindler, he did reveal his identity. He was out there, taking pictures and showing off where he was, and suddenly, it's not even enough, So my biggest intake in that is know yourself first before you give your love to anyone else. Give yourself that love and unconditional love, give yourself that attention that you crave for before you give it to someone else, because it's no one else that's going to give you what you look out there. No one else it's going to give you the love that you deserve, that you crave for, if you do not give yourself that love first. And if you think that, I'm a true believer in love, I'm a true believer in being together and building this life together. So whatever happened to me did not affect my relationship to going out there and still meeting people, I'm still I give my trust very easily. And I knew that for many years, I knew that was one of my talent. And we all know talents can go for you or can go against you, but it is one of my talent is that I give people my trust very easily. The moment that you break it, it's a no-go. After that, don't even try to beg to come back. It's just a no-go. I will not even fall down for twice. But that's where, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, because I know for sure that many women out there suffer from it, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Okay, well, I have a really good rule, and I learned this really early on, which is, and this is for everyone, and just take it as gospel, and you too, Sarah, you never, ever, ever lend more money than you are willing to lose. That's it. So with money, it's simple. Give whatever you don't care about getting back.
Agree. There is one comment that, I believe, the seven sins, in the Catholicism, Christianism, and these religions, right? There are sins, right? And greed is one of them. And I remember she was saying, on the documentary, she was saying, well, people are, pointing fingers at me because they said that I was greedy, because he was having a life that I did not feel that was possible for me to have, And so people point fingers at the greed.
No, she wasn't being greedy. There's nothing wrong with that.
She was not being greedy, but this is what people was telling, and that's where shame kicks in. And I have to admit, I did not share my story to anyone. I did not share. So she was exposed to all of these kind of comments, right? I did not share anything. But the very first things that came out was that I've been greedy. I've been greedy. I judge myself for being greedy. And if I look deep inside, I think I was. Because at that time, I never felt that I could have that life or that money back. Because the idea when someone is borrowing you money, they're going to give you in exchange, other than the attention that you crave for, they're going to give you, like, I'm going to give you that back tenfold. And they're throwing out their amounts. And seriously, that's the case. They do that to get you. They do that. And I have been deep down, that's a shadow I didn't want to look at. But I have to admit that I have been greedy. And now I learned my lesson. Fuck it. I lost all my money. I know. And the thing is that I could only moved on from that story the moment that I accepted that, yes, I did it for love, not the love of love relationship, but I did it because I was caring for my friend. I really wanted that person to be out of trouble. But the idea that I could get back this money and even more, kept me going. And it's only when I understood that, when I embodied the fact that I somehow could be greedy and accepted that I was able to move forward in my life and put this behind me and not even looking at this back. I still suffer from it a little bit sometimes. For other reasons, but and that's where, when I was watching the Tindler Swindler, that was really hard, because I could feel what these women could feel, at a certain degree. I really could feel that. And what they did is very courageous, and I know that now they moved on. Now that I want to talk about, before we wrapped up, because I think the clock is ticking, I just want to shout out there that the sentence that Anna got is a reflection of how our society is working. And when you compare the sentence of the Tindler Swindler, it just gets me, seriously upset that these kind of people with no dignity, seriously, they have no dignity to do what they are doing, and they get off with like 4 months of jail and not even sentence, to pay back. That is, it got me to my nerves, seriously. And when you see that, how many years she got, Anna? She got like 14 years or 12 years or something like that.
I think she got 8 and she served 4.
She's still in jail right now.
She's in jail for something else.
Okay, I don't know that part of the story then.
So I'll quickly tell you. She's in jail. She got out for a couple of weeks, and then because they don't like her, I imagine, and she's a foreigner. So if you're a foreigner who does something illegal in another country, you have to be deported. So she's currently in jail waiting to be deported.
Ah, okay. So where she's going to be deported, by the way, do we know? Germany or Russia?
Well, she's not American. Germany, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I want to say about that, though, is I do think it's a reflection on society, but they were different crimes. Like the Tinder
Yeah.
swindler, for example, was in different countries, so that's very hard, to monitor. And these types of crimes, and this is the reason why people do it, I think, because you're taking advantage of personal relationships. So it's the same way that it's pretty hard for the police to get involved in divorce. It's pretty hard for the police to get involved in intimate relationships. And it's actually, in some ways, it's quite good that the Tinder swindler got any time, because he got time for intimate relationship fraud. Whereas for Anna, she got time not so that Rachel didn't win, for example. So Anna didn't have to pay back her intimate relationship fine. She had to pay back the ones to institutions, because the government doesn't really, or not the government, the court system, the bureaucracy, blah, 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 doesn't like to get involved in intimate relationships. So because she did rip off institutions, but that I think is actually, morally, I have no issue with that, because they're both, because they do it, but they get away with it. Um, and so I think, while I do think the reaction to them, the hate on Anna as a person and calling her greedy, but you never hear the Tinder swindler being greedy. It's more like a man abusing women. Like, you can hear the narratives. The narratives are different. I
Yeah.
agree with all of that. But I do think that to have any intelligent conversation, you have to weigh up that their crimes were a little bit different. All of Anna's were in one place, and she was smart enough to move places, and it was only because she was dobbed in by her intimate relationship person. The same as the Tinder swindler. They weren't going to do anything about it because the crime aspect of it is not really clear in the court system. And he only got caught again because he was dobbed in by an intimate partner. And yeah, so I think in order to have that conversation properly, you have to look at the differences. But definitely, men and women are treated differently. And I think because of that, I think it's okay to use the currency that you have, because you have to use what you have. Like, we all have different things, and value exchanges are different. It's not always on money. Yeah, and I think those nuances have to be looked at. But definitely, Anna has been vilified. Do you know what I mean? More so than the Tinder swindler. And Anna is not
Yes.
allowed to continue with what she was doing. And if you watched the end of the Tinder swindler, he's got some model girlfriend, he's got Lamborghinis, and he's living some luxury life again, which I don't think a luxury life should be demonized in our culture the way it is. I don't even
Agree.
understand how he's doing that, but you shouldn't do it by ripping off individuals, and particularly leveraging love and people's goodwill. I mean, that's just sick. How you can leverage off humanity's goodwill is, yeah. And I don't believe that Anna did that in the same way the Tinder swindler did. He's
No.
dirt, he's
Yeah.
nothing. She did it in a very different way, and she absolutely gave more than she took. And I believe that's the same with her relationship with Rachel. She gave more than she took, and she did give her $5,000 back. She did want to make it right. I don't think she is as dirt as the Tinder swindler in terms
Oh,
of,
she's not. She's not. There's
integrity and moral,
no, no, for sure.
morals and all of
She's
that.
not. I completely agree. She's not that. But
No.
you know, the just. I mean, I can't wait to see what the karma is going to do, especially with people like the Tinder swindler. Seriously, I can't wait what the
But
karma
he's
is going
already
to do.
got karma. What people
No,
don't realize is sometimes the karma is internal. He doesn't have a depth of feeling in life. He will be some kind of psychopath or narcissist, or he's lacking empathy. So that means his experience of life is not the same as everyone else. He doesn't feel real love. This is another whole conversation to have, because I don't believe karma is always an eye for an eye. Do you know what I mean? Like, he got money, but he's missing the experience of being human. He's literally missing the experience of true love and true intimacy, and that is his karma. I don't believe people are always like, he didn't get what he deserved. But I think that if people haven't experienced true peace and true love and true intimacy with another, those are what is most precious in this world. He might have Lamborghinis and stuff, but he's not like, I don't demonize a luxury life, but that's not the goal. If you don't have inner peace, is the only thing, and loving yourself, and as I said before, acting on your own morals, and the self love that comes from not lowering yourself to any situation that you're in, you are wealthy. And so
Okay,
of
so
course he's got his karma. His experience of this lifetime is nothing, is meaningless.
okay,
He can
so
have all the money, all the cars that he wants, and all the holidays. Inside, he's got nothing.
yeah, okay, so I understand your point of view. Seriously, I understand that, and I'm not saying that he got everything. That's for sure, but he's not suffering. And
He's suffering.
I don't think so. I don't think
Yes.
so.
Yes, he is.
I don't. Okay, so no, you only suffer when you start to open up to your emotions and feelings. And as you said, he does not have. So he does not feel.
So therefore, he loses.
I see I see, yes, but he's not feeling the lose.
Doesn't matter. He's not feeling the joy.
No.
So not feeling the joy of life is his karma.
Okay. Okay, interesting point of view. I really like the point of view, and I still feel that something, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm narrow-minded, and I think that karma is an eye for an eye. Probably right, and that's probably where I can't fully agree with all what you said.
Really?
Yeah.
So I value how I see myself, how I behave, and the happiness that I have every day just by being who I am is so much more valuable than anything else that anyone could ever give me.
Yes, 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 yes. I do understand that.
It's the most valuable thing, and people don't realize that. And so they keep chasing for everything else and wanting everyone else to get an eye for an eye and wasting time on that. If you actually are having the experience of somewhat being enlightened, you don't need anything else. And everything equals it out. And anyone who doesn't have that is actually in pain.
I don't have the same definition of pain then. Pain is really a suffering. It's something that I agree with, for everyone who don't have that, or keep chasing things, or being in a place of lack rather than being in a place of abundance, I agree with you, that's pain, but because you keep chasing for something that seems out of reach, so it's a place of lack, so this is pain. But because you keep looking for that, I'm sure that if you ask this man the questions, he's going to tell you, I have joy. I have everything I want in life. People are giving me money I not even need to ask, and he won't feel the pain because he does not have to chase for that luxury life. He already has it. The way that he does it is out of moral value for our belief system, but not for his belief system. So he's not feeling pain as per se, because he's not feeling anything. He's like, there's probably a name for people who don't feel anything, psychopath. And but because he's not feeling First, I mean, if you can't feel the pain, you can't feel the joy. That's for sure. Yeah, that might be another perspective. Okay, I think we would go.
You don't think that's the most painful thing in the world?
Of not feeling? If you don't
Yeah.
feel, you don't. I mean, I believe that if you don't feel, you don't feel. That's just it. So you can't feel the pain. If you can't feel the joy, you can't feel the pain. And if you can't feel the pain, you can't feel the joy.
So you're not alive.
Yes, so for a person like you and me who knows, spiritual.
No, we're all the same. We all have the same needs. I don't agree with you. Like, yeah, very fundamentally.
Yeah, but your ego can make you, believe in things, Your ego can seriously replace everything of who you are. It can create, persona that are not even you at first. So this persona that is created by your ego.
Why are you wasting time thinking about this? Like, I feel like those people, yeah, I don't know. I can't even relate to them. Like, I couldn't even waste 1 second of my precious life worrying about that guy that doesn't have an eye for an eye. He does. It all works out in the end.
I believe that. Not in the way that you describe it, though, but I do believe that there
what you give. Yeah. His experience of life has got legitimately, he's down here and everyone else is up here. Like, I don't even think you can even compare.
All right. So this was the end. I think we're going to stop here because this one is going to be a bit long. So thank you for watching. If you have any opinion, if you want to step into any conversation about this show, just send us a message. It's fine. We're going to be here to answer any of your questions. And maybe you can also share your opinions about these two shows on Netflix. So just enjoy. If you haven't watched it yet, sorry for the spoiler. But seriously, the entire story is much deeper than what we alluded in this podcast. So just go and enjoy yourself a little bit of time watching this, because there are life lessons, to my opinion, in both of these shows. So go ahead and enjoy. Thank you very much, Angela.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it, and every time you listen, we truly appreciate it. And if you would like to follow me or learn more about my work or get in contact with me, please go to my website, which is angelajanecoaching.com.
And if you want to know more about my work, you can go on sarahmeng.com. All the details are going to be listed in a comment below. You can also follow us on social media, Instagram or Facebook, where we are sharing our daily tips.
Bye.
Hope to see you soon.